To understand the absolute goldmine Paramount just bought, we have to rewind to 2014, the Ubisoft Tower era. Open world games back then were massive, but they were entirely static. They were essentially just giant theme parks filled with mannequins. You play Assassin's Creed or Far Cry. You climb a tower, you reveal 50 glowing icons on a map, and you go clear out outposts. You kill endless, nameless, faceless bad guys. You staff kill guard 47, then you shoot guard 48. They don't matter, they don't have lives, they are just pixels waiting to be punched so you can get XP. Then Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor drops, and it did the unthinkable. It made losing fun. You die to a completely random low-level orc grunt. In any other game, you just reload a checkpoint. But in Mordor, the game fast-forwards. You respawn, you check the menu, and you realize the random grunt just got a promotion. He's not just Mog anymore, he's Mog the Ranger Slayer. He's got a power level boost, he's equipped with a new armor, and most importantly, when you track him down, he remembers you. This was the Nemesis System. It wasn't just a neat tech feature, it was the holy grail of game design, procedural storytelling. It created a complex living, breathing hierarchy, and the best part, the player wasn't the center of the universe. These orcs had their own politics. They'd fight each other in duels to steal promotions, they go on cargo hunts, they betray their own war chiefs. They had randomly generated fears, strengths, and personalities. One might be utterly immune to stealth attacks, but terrified of fire. Another might become enraged if you shoot his bodyguard. If you threw an orc into a fire but he escaped, he wouldn't just despawn. He might ambush you 5 hours later with a melted face, a new name like Oslor the Scorched, and a burning hatred specifically for you. It created a pure emergent narrative. No two players had the same experience. Everyone had a completely different, deeply personal arch nemesis that the game wrote specifically for them. It was an absolute revolution. It should have changed the industry forever. So, where is it? Shadow of Mordor won universal acclaim. Its sequel Shadow of War took the system and blew it up massive scale in 2017, adding fortress, sieges, spies, and warlords. And then crickets for nearly a decade. Why didn't Assassin's Creed adopt this? Why didn't Spider-Man or Ghost of Tsushima copy it and make it their own? Because Warner Bros. Patented it, simpler than I thought. They filed it in 2016, and after years of getting rejected by the US Patent Office for being too broad, Warner Bros. Finally brute forced it through 2021. The patent is valid until 2035, and they didn't just patent the code. They legally claimed ownership over the entire concept of procedurally generated NPC hierarchies that remembers player actions. And let me be perfectly clear, patenting game mechanics is toxic to the industry, extremely toxic. The entire story of video games is built on iteration. Doom built on Wolfenstein, Halo built on GoldenEye, Shadow of Mordor itself literally copy-pasted the combat from Batman Arkham and the climbing of Assassin's Creed. But Warner Bros. Really pulled the ladder up behind them. They threatened the entire industry with lawsuits if anyone dared to make a living, briefing enemy hierarchy. But the real crime isn't what other companies couldn't do, it's what Warner Bros. Themselves didn't do. They sat on a gold mine for years, and the absolute tragedy of this story culminated just before the Paramount buyout. For years, Monolith Productions, the brilliant studio that invented the Nemesis systems, had been working on a Wonder Woman game. It was officially confirmed we were finally going to see this tech outside Lord of the Rings. Imagine interrogating dynamically generated supervillains with like the lasso of truth. But Warner Bros. Executives, in their infinite wisdom, kept demanding changes. They wanted live service elements, they withheld budgets, and eventually they just pulled the plug. They canceled the Wonder Woman game and they shut down Monolith Productions entirely. They patented the greatest idea in modern gaming, starved it of funding, locked it in a vault, and then fired the architects that built it. It is, without a doubt, one of the most frustrating examples of corporate malpractice in gaming history. Okay, so Monolith is gone and Warner Bros. Fumbled the bag, but as of right now, Paramount Skydance owns everything. They own the patent. And when you look at the combined IPs of Paramount and Warner Bros., the potential for the Nemesis system is actually terrifying good. Let's do a deep dive and imagine the games they could make right now. Let's start what we already lost, DC Comics. We can imagine a new Batman game. You're just exploring Gotham and you stop a random mugging by a Two-Face goon. But he gets a lucky shot and knocks you out. The Nemesis system kicks in. That goon gets promoted by Two-Face, he gets better gear, next time you see him, he counters your batarang, if he beats you again, he breaks off, starts his own gang and calls himself the Bat Breaker. The same procedure generates a unique A-tier supervillain just for your playthrough. Your friend playing the same game has a completely different villain hunting bundle. Now let's take a look into Paramount IPs. You can just imagine right now a Mission Impossible game. You play an IMF agent doing stealth runs. You infiltrate a syndicate base, you shoot a guard in the leg and escape. Hours later, in a completely different country, that same guard shows up as a syndicate captain. He has a prosthetic leg, he knows your stealth tactics, so he equips his men with thermal goggles. He becomes a recurring, intelligent threat tracking you across the globe. Now, how about Star Trek? Imagine just a galaxy-spanning RPG, like a Starfield that is just good. You're a captain of Federation starship. You engage Klingon bird of prey in a border dispute. You destroy their ship, but the Klingon captain escapes in a pod. 2 real-world days later, your ship is ambushed. It's him. He's been promoted to general. He has a massive battlecruiser, half his face is a cybernetic from the explosion, and his ship is specifically shielded against the phaser frequency you used to beat him last time. He knows you, man. He will get you. And finally, Game of Thrones. My dream game. It would be perfect. The Nemesis system was literally built for Westeros politics. Imagine an RPG where you play a lesser lord. The hierarchy screen isn't War's War Chief, it's the Great Houses. You embarrass a Lannister knight in a tournament and he holds a grudge. He spreads rumors about you, ruining your trade deals. So you just go and assassinate him. But his sister finds out, gets promoted to the King's Small Council, and uses her new power to send the City Watch after you. The political backstabbing would generate itself organically. It will be just perfect, until the very last and perfect. The possibilities are endless. Top Gun dogfights where enemies pilots learn your flight patterns, a Mad Max game where surviving war boys build custom death cars specifically to counter your vehicle. The truth is, the Nemesis system was more than a just cool gimmick. It was a promise of a feature where open worlds weren't just big, they were deep, where our actions didn't just drain a health bar but fundamentally changed the world, the story and the enemies we fought. For a decade, Warner Bros. Broke that promise. They chose to hoard, to patent and to stifle rather than to create. They punished the developers who built it, and they robbed gamers of the experiences it could have provided. But this $110 billion Paramount buyout is a second chance. It's a chance for the best idea in gaming history to finally be set free. We're not just watching the news to see what happens to HBO Max or the movie studios. We're watching to see if the new bosses finally look inside the vault, realize that what they have, and free the Nemesis.